Today we're checking out another set from LesDiy, the Apocalypse Detective's Office, designed by Sugarbricks. Not too long ago, we looked at the Apocalypse Brick Bank, and while its amazing price and included extras won out, it definitely came with a lot of frustrations. I'm happy to say that the building experience was much better this time around, and most of their problems were fixed. LesDiy sent me this set to share with y'all, so let's get into it. If you haven't heard of LesDiy, they license tons of different MOCs from lots of designers and then assemble all the pieces for you along with the designer's instructions. I actually have a couple of my own MOCs on their site, like my second floor climbing gym to the retro bowling alley set. LesDiy doesn't start to assemble the set until it's ordered, so it takes about 3 or so weeks for the set to arrive. The MOC came tightly packed in a fairly small box with their logo on it. Inside there's a QR code to download the digital instructions from a Google Drive, along with a big bag filled with tons of smaller bags of separated pieces. Like last time, there are two sides to keep in mind when critiquing the set. There's the design by Sugarbricks, and then there's the actual set that was assembled and produced by LesDiy. I'll also be comparing this experience with the last set that I built from them. For example, last time the brick bank came with lots of numbered bags, which might seem better on the surface. However, the bags weren't referenced in the instructions, and more importantly, there were tons of pieces absent from the current bag you were using that didn't show up until much later bags. This constant searching for the right pieces was a huge headache for me and was easily the main frustration with the set. This time, however, instead of numbered bags, the pieces are merely bagged together by type. Some bags only have one type of part inside, which is really easy to find, but most of the bags have a few different parts combined together. As far as I could tell, all of one specific part was found in the same bag, meaning you won't need to look for another bag with more of the same part inside. There are a few bags with lots of different parts for the ones with low quantities in the set. Overall, I thought it was fairly easy to build with this setup. I just laid out all the bags in view, scanned them for the part that I was looking for, and then emptied that bag and sorted it into different categories. So far, the assortment of the pieces is a drastic improvement from last time. Let's pause the LesDiy critique and check out Sugarbricks' design. Once again, I thought this would be a great MOC to build because, like other retired modular buildings, the detective's office is quite expensive on the aftermarket, and I didn't see myself shelling out for it. I was also really digging the apocalypse theme Sugarbricks created and wanted to expand onto the brick bank. The ground floor and the whole set is in a great state of decay and ruin. I think Sugarbricks does a great job with the broken up sidewalks in his sets. There are a couple of masonry bricks strewn out front, along with pieces of glass and a few weeds growing through the sidewalk. The windows on the ground floor are boarded up, and they all have their glass panes broken into various shapes. It's a little tiring assembling the broken window sections, but definitely vital for the theme. The pool hall has its sign faded and falling down at an angle, and the green dome awnings have seen some better days. The sign for Al's Barbershop also has some tan fading, and the red and white awning looks pretty tattered. Before diving inside, let's look at the rest of the exterior. There are tons of nicks and chunks missing from parts of the walls, which all do an amazing job capturing the apocalypse styling. The balcony railings are also hinged at angles to appear broken. A new feature with this set is the use of big cracks on the sides of the modular. On the right side, there's a big crack running down through all 3 floors of the blue building, and it even extends up to the rooftop where most of it's missing, and all we see are some exposed beams. I really like this roof, and it's probably one of my favorite features. Likewise, the left side has a couple of big cracks in the second floor, as well as a couple of cracked tile areas on the first floor. All of these side details look great on their own, and it's kind of a bummer that they'll be covered up when placed next to another modular like the brick bank. The backside has more shattered windows, boarded up areas, broken chunks of wall, and a tattered black roof. There's also something on fire in the trash can. Another frustration from last time was that there were lots of missing pieces. Well, actually for a lot of those, the design had been changed without updating the instructions, leaving it to you to figure out what they actually wanted. I'm really happy to say that this time the pieces matched the instructions just like you would expect, and there was no frustrating guesswork required on my part. There was even a base plate instead of the 4 16x16 plates that we got last time. However, there were unfortunately still 3 missing pieces from the set. This panel piece on the left side, and a couple of jumper plates for some cabinet drawers. I had pieces in my collection to substitute, so it wasn't too big of a deal for me. Compared to the numerous missing pieces last time, it's definitely a huge improvement, although still not perfect. Inside the first floor, we have the barbershop on the right. Unfortunately, it's missing an old barber chair. But all of the movable features for the cookie smuggling storyline from the original set do still exist. On the other side is the pool hall, and thankfully there is an old ratted pool table still here. On the second floor, we have the bathroom on the right, which, besides the missing door, looks to probably be the nicest bathroom in the entire apocalypse. On the left, we have the detective's office, with just his old desk remaining. The third floor kitchen has another awesome floor hole with a couple of beams exposed. And outside on the rooftop, there's a fallen down water tower, a broken skylight, and a big chunk missing from the front parapet facade. One of the only problems with this set is that the tiles for the water tower wouldn't stay connected to the black treads. This is a problem with the quality of the treads rather than the design, as it is the same technique used in the original LEGO set. Finally, the top roof section looks great with that hole and decay around the edge. However, it is pretty fragile and the beams are just barely connected underneath. Sugarbricks' instructions were pretty good overall and fairly easy to follow, with only a few parts where you couldn't quite tell where the pieces should go. Design-wise, I only have a few nitpicks that could have been improved. With the destructive, fragile look of the Apocalypse theme, there are a few connections that could have been more thought out. For example, these bricks on the first floor usually come off when removing the second floor. Also, the exposed beams on the top roof section are pretty delicate, but definitely worth a look in my opinion. I also wish there was an old barber's chair down in the barbershop, similar to the decaying pool table. The last little problem I had was that the roof part of the third floor doesn't like to stay connected to the floor below, leaving a gap between the floors. This is probably either because of the design of the MOC, or the off-brand bricks don't work well with the LEGO's original, not too great in my opinion, thin design for the floor. If there were separate roof and third floor sections, it probably wouldn't be a problem. In the Apocalypse theme, it could work as it is, but I chose to just swap out a 1x4 plate, which now keeps it connected. The quality of pretty much all the bricks was great, and I'd say equivalent to LEGO and Go bricks. There were only a few pieces that felt a little lighter than normal. There was one container door that didn't work because the gaps at the bottom had some plastic obstructing them, and there was one 6x14 plate that was slightly bent, but it doesn't seem to really be a problem where I used it on the second floor. The only real quality problem with the pieces were the treads on the water tower that I mentioned earlier that don't keep the 1x3 tiles connected. I'll either need to order some new treads on Bricklink, or maybe just use a drop of hot glue on each one. Hey, it's the Apocalypse. There aren't illegal building techniques in the Apocalypse. Oh, and this set included the new tile pieces with the groove on the bottom, unlike the grooveless ones last time, which is a great improvement. One disappointment I had with this set was the lack of minifigs, but that's pretty unfair for me to say because this set is not supposed to come with any minifigs. However, last time the Brickbank set surprised me with 10 awesome minifigs that were not advertised to be included anywhere, and I was kind of hoping that the same thing would happen this time. So while there aren't any included, I can't really count it as a negative since there weren't supposed to be any in the set. Lastly is the price, which is usually a huge selling point for these sets. The Apocalypse Detective's Office is listed at $220, which is quite a bit higher than the Brickbank set. It does have 400 more pieces, but it still seems like a big price increase to me. Although it is still a lot cheaper than ordering all the pieces on Bricklink, which including shipping charges and buying the instructions on Unbreakable would cost you about $100 more than this LesDiy set. So it's still a good value, just not quite as an amazing value that the Brickbank set was. Overall, I thought this set from LesDiy was a big improvement from their last one we looked at. The building experience was much better, the design from Sugarbricks is great, and the price is definitely cheaper than other options. There weren't any bonus minifigs this time around, but I shouldn't have expected any. That's just my opinion though, feel free to let me know what you think in the comments. As for the MOC itself, I really like how it turned out, and I definitely need to get the Apocalypse Downtown Diner modular next. Anyway, that's all I got. I hope you have a safe pre-apocalypse day.